Good morning, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? Okay, yeah. Yeah, hi, everyone. Hi, Boo. Hi, Yash. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just start with, like, as I have already told you, like, we will start with the somewhat of a mock questions one by one with everyone, and then we will start with our topic. So first, uh, 5 10 minutes will be in this way. So we will start with uh, alphabetically. So we'll start with Akshay. Akshay, uh, what are the various type of machine learning? Like how can I classify machine learning into like two or three ways? Akshay, you can unmute your mic and you can let me know the answer. Am I audible, Akshay?
Now you're audible. Can you repeat the question? I didn't
Okay,
catch it.
so my question is, what are the various type of machine learning algorithms?
Right. So we have the starting with the linear regression.
No,
Right.
so basically that is a part of that will be a further subdivision altogether. But yeah, I am talking about a level above it.
The supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement.
Correct, very good. And what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised? Baldev will tell. Baldev. So what is the difference between them? Baldev, am I audible to you? Okay, so we'll move to Bhuvi then. Bhuvi, what are the various type of like what are the main difference between supervised and supervised and reinforcement? Bhuvi, am I audible to other people? Please. Okay. Okay. So the question is, like as Akshay told that okay, machine learning algorithms can be divided into three part. That is supervised, unsupervised. Earlier he was telling about linear regression. Also, we have a level above that. That is basically a further subdivision we do have. So we do have supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. My question is, what is the difference between them? What is the difference between supervised and unsupervised and reinforcement? This is the question. Is the question clear now? Or like, should I repeat again? It would be great if you can unmute your mic. Like, this is a request to all. If you can unmute your mic, I think that would be a better connect. Uh, okay. Okay, no issue. We will move to Hermes. We will come back to you, Bhuvi. Till that. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't wearing my mic. Sorry. Yeah. So in supervised learning, what I understand is that we know what the the dependent and the independent variables are.
Correct.
We are looking for a certain pattern, and we have test and training and all of those. In
Hmm.
unsupervised, again, we don't know what we are looking for. Those dependent and independent variables, we dig deep and then find out more of what we understand from the data. In
Okay. So,
reinforcement,
hmm,
we kind of it's more like a trial and error. We kind of want the maximum benefit out of a certain data. So where it's like there is a reward and we want to maximize the reward, so by giving it's like a reward and punishment kind of a methodology.
Correct. So can you just emphasize more on the unsupervised one? I think like you are clear with the supervised that you have both the independent and the dependent variable in reinforcement. You do have the reward and penalized method. That is, you want to maximize the reward and reduce the penalized part.
Right.
Can you let me know the unsupervised? What do you mean by unsupervised once again?
In unsupervised, we don't clearly know what the dependent and independent variables are. Where we look at the data and we take it forward. So, for example, we spoke about in marketing, and we kind of have a way a lot of data, and let that drive. For the Facebook example as well, where we don't know what are the prompts that we should give, what do you say, the suggestions that they should give, and if it clicks, and we take it forward from there.
Okay.
Does
So
that make
like,
sense?
yeah, I would say with unsupervised, I can say we don't have the target variable, but we do have the independent features. And we need to actually analyze. So like in unsupervised learning, actually the type of techniques we use, the type of algorithms we use are different from what we use in the supervised one. So in supervised, we have a clear idea. Okay, see, this is the feature, this is the label. Train machine will learn from the pattern and all. But in unsupervised, we normally perform the clustering part. We create clusters of the features and identify the pattern. So this is how it will work. I will take an example, and like today I will be doing the K-means algorithm only. That is unsupervised one. So you will get a more better clarity then. But yeah, good answer. So now to Harmeet. Harmeet, what are the various type of supervised learning?
It's regression, linear or logistic. It's a classification, linear regression and classification. Basically for the classes, for the categories. Linear for the continuous variables. What I think. Am I right?
Can you please repeat slowly a bit?
There are two things:
Correct.
linear regression and logistic, which is a classification.
No. Okay. So you're saying that there are two types.
Yeah,
So you're saying
linear and
it's
classification.
linear and classification.
Huh.
Jyoti, is Harmeet correct?
No, sir. It's regression and classification.
Sorry, regression and classification. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
In
Uh,
regression, we have the linear and the
And
logistic.
logistic. And
Yeah. In classifications, we have
for
different stuff.
categories,
Yeah.
classes, for classes.
Diffusion
Harmeet,
and random forest and all that stuff.
correct. Harmeet, what is the main difference between regression and classification?
Regression and classification. Classification is for the continuous variable, for the dependent variables. Okay, and classification is linear is for the continuous variable, data dependent variables.
I think wait, you are still getting confused between linear. Forget linear, forget logistic. The question is directly what is the main difference between regression and classification?
Regression and classification.
Yeah, different answer.
Okay. When something is dependent on a basically predicted and target, okay, that's a regression.
Okay.
And a classification basically it's for the classes, like some person are from this class, some person is from this class, this data is from this class. That is classification. We have to classify it from that data.
No, Jyoti, can you just tell me the difference between regression and classification?
Anji. In regression, sir, the output always be a continuous, right? Like in logistic, it's different. It's in binary. But thing is that we having the continuous value, but not restricted to definite thing. Other than that, then classifications, they are the predefined labels, but we are having the discrete values.
So those discrete values are like in the features or like which it is. So what is discrete and what is continuous? Like,
Sorry?
so my question is, for example, we have a regression algorithm, and okay, I'm talking about regressions. I'm talking about classification. Okay.
Hanji.
So if I have a column of age, basically 10, 12, 13, like
Age is a continuous. Age is a continuous.
Yeah.
So it is continuous. So still it will be a classification problem, Jyoti.
No, so it will
No.
be if we have to predict something, so we will go for the regression one. Oh, sorry, for regression, linear regression, and in binary situation, yes or no, or whether the disease it's spam or not. So it's going to the logistic one.
So you are correct. So I would just like recommend one thing. Try using the word. So like you are correct. I think you have understanding that continuous and discrete. Say just try using the word target. The target variable
Okay.
should be continuous. If the target is continuous, it is a regression. If the target is a discrete, it is a classification.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Anchal, this question goes to you. What are the various metrics for analyzing the performance of a regression model?
Hi, sir. Can you please repeat the question? I
Okay.
was not able to hear it.
No issue. So the question is, what are the various performance metrics for analyzing the performance of a regression model? You can name any one, and so in like if I like, I think the words are quite heavy for this, so I will simplify the question. To judge the performance of a regression model, what various metrics do we use?
MSc or RMSc?
No, Harmeet. One by one, the person whom I name will answer the question.
Okay. So just give me 2 minutes. Let me recall everything because I was not there from past two classes, no? So I'm a little confused.
No issue.
Is it like mean absolute percentage error?
Correct. MAPE. This is what we call as MAPE. Yeah.
Map, yeah, mean absolute error and mean absolute percentage error,
Correct.
mean squared error, MSC, or what we call
Correct. Yeah,
root mean squared error,
correct.
and MAE. The full form for that
This
was
is what you have covered. So it can be R square.
yeah.
Yeah. So these are the one. So we go to the next person, Parul. Parul, what is the difference between MAE and RMSE? Parul. So I will ask two questions to Parul to you. First one will be Achal. Thank you. You answered the
Thank you,
question.
sir.
Welcome. Parul, this is the question to you. What is the difference between MAE and RMSE? And the second question would be why we normally take the absolute and the square, like why we don't take a cube while calculating the, like we do have mean squared error. Why we don't take mean cube error? Yeah, mean of error directly, Parul. So you can answer the first question: difference between MAE and RMSE.
The mean square stands for mean of the error, actual minus predict, and
Correct.
mean square error is the error. Mean of error, mean square error is it's a root, right?
Okay, I'm just reiterating.
We calculate the mean. We
You are
calculate the
correct.
root of mean square error.
You are correct, but I'm not asking the derivation. So you are correct with the formula. My question is, what is the difference between, like why, like okay, like to be more precise, if I'm talking about the difference between MAE and RMSE, I'm talking about okay, what particular good characteristics your RMSE have, and what MAE does not have. This is the question. And this is a very tricky question which is normally asked in the interviews. That is, I'm focusing on this one.
Because
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so we can go to the second question. The second question is why we normally take the square or absolute. For example, can you let me know how we will calculate the RMSE? Now you can tell how we will calculate RMSE.
Root mean square is calculate the square root of mean.
Okay, if I gave you actual and predicted, so from that how I will calculate RMSE?
Firstly, we will calculate the actual minus predict, and after that we will take the average of this, and after take a root square. Root mean is square.
No, I would say you need to just rethink again. Of course, actual minus predicted is your error. And after calculating error, what you will do? You will take the mean, or what you will do?
we will
I told you to move from the back to the first word.
the first one we will calculate the absolute error.
In RMSC, root mean squared error.
Root mean square error.
Correct.
Yeah, firstly we will take absolute, and further after that table we will take the root mean
Okay.
of this.
Okay. Raghu, is Parul correct? No issue. Thank you, Parul. We'll move to Raghu now. He will let us know.
Yeah, good morning, Gurdeep. So in root mean square error, what we will do, we will have the actuals and predictor. What
Correct.
the values we are getting, that we will make it as absolute. Okay, then from that we need to take the this one mean square error. Then we will need to power off is 1/2. That is
No,
root mean.
I'm saying please rethink again. Please rethink. I'm saying how to calculate RMSC. Root
Yeah, yeah.
mean squared error.
So
That's what. So we will have the actuals and predicted. So we from actuals and predicted what the values are coming. Then we will need to do the mean square from that. We will need to make as absolute.
Okay, you
then
will do. Okay, you will. I'll do it absolute. Okay.
we need to change as absolute. From that we need to take the mean square error.
Okay, first you will take mean, then you will do it square.
No. First we will take the square. So each values we make it as a square. Okay, we make the square. Then we have this all. For example, if we have a 10 data, then we will have the mean square error. From that we need to take the root mean square error.
Okay, so I think like, okay, let me just tell my version. So you have the actual and the predicted. You will calculate the error first. That is actual minus predicted.
Exactly.
After calculating error, you will square it.
Exactly.
I think like this is the word. I think like this is a recommendation I gave like in the last classes also. Absolute and square are different. Doing a square and taking absolute are different thing. If you say that we will do it absolute using square, that is a wrong terminology.
No. I'm not telling absolute square. First, we need to, for example, if we have a data in minus, that's why we are doing absolute.
No, absolute. Okay, see, there is a difference. As I said, okay, what will be the absolute of -4, Raghu?
Yeah, it will be a 4.
And what will be the square of -4?
16.
So, are you getting different result from different?
Yes.
Yeah.
So absolute is just making the positive. Even if you have a negative value,
yeah. So if okay, correct. So if it is asked about mean absolute percentage error and mean absolute error, in that you can use the word absolute. But when it is when you're talking about MSC, RMSC, the answer should be like
got it. Okay. No need to use the absolute. Yeah.
You don't. If you use the word absolute in this, it might confuse the interviewer. Correct, because he will think out that no absolute is to be taken. So the answer in this case is take the error, square it. After squaring, take the mean of it and do the root of it.
Make the root of from that. Yes.
So I will ask the first question again, which I asked to Parul. What is the difference between MAE and RMSC?
Sorry?
What is the main key difference between MAE and RMSC? Not in terms of formula, but in terms of its efficiency.
Don't know why we are.
Okay, no issue. Rishabh, can you please let us know the answer for the same? Thank you, Raghu.
Yeah.
Rishabh. Rishabh, am I audible?
Yes, Gurdeep. Can you come again? What's the question?
So the question was, what is the difference between MAE and RMSE? Mean absolute error and root mean squared error.
MAE, we basically find the mean absolute error. First, we find the error, and we can absolutely.
Okay. Not in terms of formula, of course. Like in formula, it will be error, then taking absolute and then mean. Whereas in RMS, it is error, squaring the error, taking the mean and root of it. I'm talking in terms of the efficiency point of view, performance point of view. Yeah, on what particular key parameters the RMSE focus on which the MA does not focus, or like vice versa.
According to me, RMSE, we find the error rate. Like what's the error rate we find like in our entire data.
What do you mean
and
by
MA error rate, like what's the basic like we have 100% of data, and some are like inaccurate data. So we calculate like some error data, like
What do you mean
there
by
is some.
inaccurate data?
Sorry.
What do you mean by inaccurate data?
Inaccurate data, like I have I have 100 books, but 100 new books, but in between there are some 10 books or 20 books are like old books. So we can find that data that is the inaccurate data, like
Okay,
Gurdeep, can we
error.
say that MA is for short data and RMS is a long for the big data?
no, Harmeet, that is not the
Actually,
we can.
in last class, when you say it's a topic which you explain us.
No, I have thrown like I have, you can say, highlighted all the things. That is what I'm asking. But yeah, if any point need to be included, I will include this during this discussion. So Rishabh, in this case, you're saying inaccurate. So if you have 10, 100 new books, 10 old books, so how does it relate to the classification problem?
um, Classification.
Yeah. And
uh,
how you will be and how does it relate with the MAE? Okay, how does it relate with the MAE and RMSE? That are continuous values basically. But 100 books, 10 old books, that is you can say is not a continuous values I can see.
yeah.
So how does it relate with the MAE and RMSE?
uh, Actually, I didn't get it properly. Sorry.
Okay, you are correct. See, actually, what I'm giving you a highlight of an interview. Uh, I would say in the interview, try using the words which you're aware of. Because if you use some words which, like you can say, does not make sense to the interviewer, he will ask about them. Correct, and he will go one by one into the depth of words which you're using, and at last you will be in a trap that okay, you don't know about the words, and but you have spoken them up. Correct.
Yes.
So try avoiding that situation before speaking. Think about what the interviewer will ask the question to you. Before speaking, before speaking, like just analyze. Okay, I'm using this type of words. What type of question can come from these answer back to me? That
Okay.
will be the
Okay.
perfect like preparation for the interview part. So okay, like to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
precise,
Yeah.
what is the difference between ME and RMS? If you know about it, please let me know. We will move to Sahil then. Okay, so I will let so the main difference between MA and RMSE is the RMSE actually highlights the bigger error, whereas MAE like minimize them out, yeah, average them out. This is the answer I told you. So and I this is what I think we have shown. I have shown you in the Excel and all those calculations. So your RMSE will actually penalize the bigger errors or highlight the bigger errors, whereas your MA will not do it. We have seen the cases where MA was you can say 100 and your RMSE went up to 250 because there is a bigger error, because when you do the square of error, so what RMSE focus upon is if there is a bigger error, it will become more bigger, and if there is a smaller, it will become more smaller, because square of 20 will be 400, correct, and square of zero point 0.5 will be 0.25. So so the smaller errors will minimize, and where the bigger errors will maximize further. Whereas MAE basically takes out the average, and it does not give any special weightage to the bigger errors altogether. Whereas RMSE do the same. Correct, Baldev, your answer is correct. So you can actually write me the answer in the chat window, private thing.
But in RMSE we find the root of the value, so it's bigger to smaller as a
No,
result.
okay. So main thing is it will be equivalent. What you can do is you can just try 2, 3 sample data set, like try with some dummy values. If you have actual value as 10, and if your predict is 20, correct. In that case, your MA and RMSE will be same, because
Okay.
10 minus 20, 10. It basically MA will be 10 altogether. RMS will be 10 cos square. It will go to 100, and you will take root of it again. It will come to 10.
Yes, yes, yes.
Before taking root, you're doing the square, so both of them will be coming at a same level altogether. If there is a huge difference between ME and RMSE, it means that there are some bigger errors present in your data set. Yeah, like not in the data set during the prediction part. Yeah. Okay. So we
In
will.
MA or RMSE, we firstly we find square of the error,
Correct.
and about like average. Huh?
We calculate the square, then we do the mean, or you can say the average, and
Yeah,
then we calculate the root. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, okay. Thank you.
So we go to Sahil. Sahil, this is a question to you. What are the various metrics of classification? Like various metrics by which we judge the performance of a classification model? Other people can
Yeah,
write in the chat
hi
below
Gurdeep, can you hear me?
one to me. Yeah, Sahil, you're audible. Other people can put a direct message to me regarding the unsaved and know about it. Yes,
So
Sahil.
the metrics related to the classification model is confusion matrix,
Yeah,
and through confusion matrix we can also find out things such as accuracy. Then
correct.
you have recall sensitivity and recall specificity.
Specificity.
Uh, yeah, sorry. Then you have precision,
Correct.
and then you have the F1 score.
Correct. Very good. So yeah, these are the various metrics we do have: recall, precision, F1 score, and accuracy. These are the main metrics we have. We have our ROC, AUC. I'll cover that one too. Regarding sensitivity and specificity, so recall of 1 is sensitivity, whereas recall of 0 is specificity. But good answer, Sahil. Saitesh, this question goes to you. So what do you mean by recall, and what do you mean by precision? So please let me know what do you mean by recall first. Saitesh. Saitesh, am I audible? Other people can write it. What is the difference between okay, like a definition of recall? I specifically focused on that. Saitesh, am I audible? Okay. So Sakshi Mishra.
Hello.
Yeah.
What is that? What do you mean by recall, and what do you mean by precision?
Okay, so I'm not sure, but yeah, what I can recall is so recall basically means that recall, for example, recall of class 0 means that how many zeros we have obtained in our data, be it true negative or false negative. I mean, be it the incorrect 0 or the correct 0.
Okay, what
So
is the
basically,
formula
all
for
the zeros.
correct? What is the formula for recall? Recall of class one.
Recall of class 1 is true positive plus false positive divided by true positive plus false negative plus true negative.
That is, uh, so you're saying true positive plus false positive divided by everything, correct?
Correct.
No, that is not the
Recall
answer.
of class 1, right?
Uh, yeah, recall of class one, the formula.
So is
But
this
you
not
can say
correct?
the correct formula of recall, yeah.
Oh, okay, then I thought this is the form. Or is it like true positive divided by true positive plus false positive?
Correct. So this is the recall of
Okay,
one.
okay,
True
okay.
positive by true positive by plus false negative. Okay, what do you mean by false negative, Sakshi?
So false negative is basically so the data should have been on the positive side, like the null hypothesis, but what we have predicted is the opposite of it.
No.
False negative. Huh, yeah. I mean, I mean, if we talk in Boolean terms, so it should have been 1, but we have predicted 0.
No. Oh yeah, false negative. You are correct. Yeah. So you
Right?
predicted negative, but actually it should be a one. So you predicted a zero, but actually it should be a one. So that is what do you mean by false negative. If I ask about the definition of recall, what do you like in a layman term? How you will define recall? So this is the formula TP upon TP plus FN. This is the recall one. What is the definition for the same?
So recall basically is calling out all the ones in our data or calling out all the zeros in our data. I mean, that's what I
Okay.
understood.
So we will move. Okay. But yeah, thank you for the formula, Sakshi. So we'll ask this question to Surya.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Surya, what is the definition of recall? You can say. But before that, Surya, you can let me know the formula for precision, and then we'll move with the definition part. Surya, am I audible? Yeah, Anchal, your answer is correct. So Surya, can you unmute your mic if possible? Raghu, your answer of recall definition is also correct. Great. Okay, no issues. It will be, you're saying TP upon TP plus FP, correct? So that is basically the formula for precision one. Okay, correct. So moving to Swati. But Swati, what is the main, so how you will define recall in layman terms? Like a definition for the same?
uh, Recall, we can say it out of actual positives. How many positives you were able to predict correctly?
Yeah, correct. So that is basically the definition for recall. And how you will define precision?
Precision is also the same. How out of predicted positives, how many are actually positives?
Correct. Great answer.
Precision is regarding the predicted and recall is regarding the actuals.
Correct. And same, so these are for the class one. For class zero, it will be the negative. So instead of first, we'll talk about the negative. Out of the actual negatives, how many negatives you were able to predict correctly? Great. Thank you. Okay. So this Vivo, I don't know the name. So this question goes to you. What do you mean by F1 score and the formula for the same? Yeah, Bhuvi, your answer was also correct for recall. Please, this I think this is the device name Vivo 1804. Can you please unmute your mic and introduce yourself so that and let us know what do you mean by F1 score. Okay, Yash, we goes to you. So Yash, what do you mean by so the same question goes to you. What do you mean by F1 score and the formula for the same? Yash, am I audible?
Yes, Gurdeep, you're audible.
Yeah.
You call F1 score, right? F1 score is like it's like a precision into recall upon precision plus recall. Is that like that?
Twice into, yeah, two into
Twice,
precision.
sorry, twice into.
So it is basically the harmonic mean of precision and recall. That is correct. Okay. So there is a question about KNN now. What do you mean by KNN?
KNN is K is nearest neighbor. That is like which are the data points. Like if there is a data point lying in between the two subcategories, which category does it belong to? We just have to find that.
What is the by default value of K?
By default value of K, I guess it is 3. Like, no.
It is 5.
5.
But
Sorry.
that is okay. You can just memorize. And there is one more question. Like which matrix you will go with? You will go with F1 score, or you will go with accuracy? Which is more preferred?
Not sure, Gurdeep, but I guess I'll go
You
with
can make a guess. Like
accuracy.
according to
Accuracy.
Okay, correct. I can say accuracy you can use, but I would say F1 score you should give more weightage to, because if your data, if your classes are biased, your accuracy might be high, but your F1 score might be low because For example, during the training phase, if 90% of the data is for class 1 and only 10% are for class 0, so your machine will be able to predict correctly. Or I can say if 95% of data is of class 1 in training and 5% is of class 0, so your machine will be able to predict the class 1 very accurately, whereas it will not be able to predict the class 0. So in that case, your accuracy will be high, but the F1 score will be low. So we'll be focusing more on the F1 score. F1 score is we consider as a more better criteria because it takes into consideration the recall and the precision. Regarding the Yash, I think like I have a question, one more question for you. Which distance do you use while calculating the KNN?
We use Euclidean's distance, which is root of x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1.
Okay, what do you mean by x2 and
The whole
y2
square.
in this case? Yeah, correct. It will not be the so it will be under root x2 minus x1 ka square plus y2 minus y1 ka square.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
correct. What do you mean by x2 and y2 in this case?
X2, like not very clear on this.
Okay, x2 and y2 are the feature values. For example, age and salary. So age and salary of the training data can be x2 and y2, whereas x1 and y1 can be the data points for whom we need to predict the values.
Okay.
Correct. So one point will be from the training phase, training data. The other point will be from the prediction one. It will calculate. Okay, it will identify. Okay, these the points for which we need to predict are closest to which training data. A training point, I can say. Yeah. No issue, Surya. Yeah. So, do any one of you have any other question? Otherwise, we will start with the class. And do any one of you have any question with the KNN regarding the KNN understanding how it works? Okay, thanks, Bhuvi. No question. Anyone?
Yes, Gurdeep, I have a few doubts regarding the codes that you provided us with.
Yeah, sure.
So can you please open that file just for a while? It won't take long.
No, sure. I'm just opening those for a quick reference. Yeah. Just give me a second. And yeah, I'm opening those. And how many of you were able to solve the assessment which I gave to you, which I shared with you? So what I will do is actually I will just share a drive link and you need to upload your py files on that, all of you. And then from there, actually, like, see how it is going to help you. I will share a standard answer with you. There are multiple ways of doing it. The assessment, like it will be a more of self-assessing that, okay, were you able to attain the desired results or not? If not, you can refer to my answer solution file. It will provide you the answer. And like the reason for uploading it on a single drive is that, okay, you can check other people file too, and you can see, okay, like how they're working on it and like how they try to tackle the problem altogether. Okay, so the files are opened. Okay, just let me share my screen. So you're talking about the classification or the regression one? Okay, like let me open the classification first. Are you able to see the screen? Do let me know when you're able to see the screen.
Gurdeep, I was actually
I will
talking about the regression one.
Yeah,
But
sure. I will just open that one too. Yeah, this is the regression one.
yeah, in that cell number 15, there is this code where we use drop first. What is this used for? We
Okay.
write drop first is equal to true.
Okay. So in this case, I think like when you do one hot encoding, like I think like there is another file. I can just open that one and it will give you more better clarity. So what Dropbox will do? Okay, let me just share over the screen only. So when you have basically, I can talk about the column for like you can say residential status. So what residential status I do have three values, that is rented, owner, or you can say lease. If there are three columns, for example, rent, owner, and lease, and those are the values. Let me just show you. Okay, so for example, I have three values in the previous data, that is owner, rent, and lease. So when you will do dot get dummies, actually it will do a one hot encoding for the same. It will create a new column for the owner. It will create a new column for the rent, and it will create a new column for the lease. But when you do drop underscore first is equal to true, it will drop one of the column. Reason being because, for example, if I say here, when you have basically when the person is a owner, it will be a one here, and when the person will be on a rent, it will be a one here. But when the person will be on a lease, it will be 0 values here. Correct. So that is the main difference. So that is how it tackles. So drop first is equal to true, so it will delete one column for your uh, for your get dummies part. So if there were three unique values for residential status such as owner, rent, and lease, if you don't do this one, if you delete this line, it will create three columns for the residential status, that is owner, rent, and lease. And when the person is owner, it will be one here and zero for both. And when it is a rent, when the person is on rent, it will be one here and zero for the rest of the two. But when you do drop underscore first equal to true, so the main reason for doing this one is to reduce the number of features, because the more the number of features, for example, if you want to create dummy variable for approx, you can say 100 columns altogether. Okay. Or I can say for 100 columns, if you're creating dummy value. So in that case, actually, when you do drop underscore first equal to true, you will be saving up to 100 features, 100 feature creation. And the main reason and why do we do it is, the first reason is to reduce the number of features so that the training time would be less. And the second would be, in this case, we are not losing any information. For example, owner and rent. If there would be a lease also, rent, residential status underscore lease. So we are capturing the lease significance when these two will be zero. So if both the values are zero, because for lease it would be a one under the lease and zero for these two. So in that case, uh, we will consider it as a lease one. Did you get the understanding? Yes.
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, I can open the encoding file. I think like I do have it. Just let me open it. Baldev, sure, I will explain you up. So, okay, let me just share my other screen. So yes, this is the one. I think like this is the one which I use for explaining to. So India, China, USA, and Japan. So in this case, I was having, this is the label encoding I was having. Correct. These are the names which I can have. I can convert into this particular method like this. And if you do get dummies for these, for this particular column, what it will do, it will create column for them. It will do 1 0 0 0 0. And when you do drop is equal to drop first is equal to true, it will only keep these three columns. We'll drop Japan in order to save the number of features, and this particular pattern, that is 0 0 0, will represent Japan. I think like it will give you a more better clear understanding.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, sure, thank you. Okay, let me just take the question of Baldev. So he is talking about the cell number 5. I think in this one it is the cell number 5. So in this case, yeah. So this is the question which Baldev. So this was sample data which I was using, the age and the salary. These were the features, and in this case, I was using the regression one. So KNN regressor, and the number of regression was 6. So it was a KN neighbor dot predict 80/50. 80 and 50. So 80 actually in this case is the age, and 50 is the salary. So what there are two methods of providing the value for prediction. The first can be you can like make a prediction on the entire data frame, or you can just provide the specific values in this particular format also if you want to predict on a single combination, for example for age and salary. So this is how you will do it. So this was for like just a solution check, because the mean of the entire column, because the number of neighbors are 6 altogether, so the mean of the expenditure was same as the prediction, because then we are considering all the neighbors for calculation. Is it clear, Baldev, or you still have a doubt? Okay. Okay, so this was with the classification. This was with the class. So this was called with the classification one, correct? And in the last, if you have gone through the code, so we handled the missing value, like we imputed using the median and the mode. You can do it using the advanced missing value imputation method, like taking other columns into consideration. And this is the correlation one. So if I like go to the last, this was the matrix. Okay, this is the classification which I got. So in this case, the precedent for class 1, I think this is the recall for class 1. This is the sensitivity, and recall for class 0, it is a specificity. So these are 90%, 93%. Correct. In this case, you can see your accuracy and F1 score are quite close. So you can say in this case, it is a good go-to task. And this supports this support what does the tell is like in the testing data. In the testing data, we do have 294 data points for class 0 and 360 data point for class 1. So this is what it is telling about in the testing phase. If I go to the regression one, so in this case, of course, the problem statement will change. And in this case, the target variable would be a continuous one. So in this case, let us see like what particular variable was. So in this, we were predicting for the credit bureau score. That is a civil score. I think this is a homework which I gave to you also to understand the working of the civil score and how the banking domain like makes money from the credit cards too. So credit bureau score, and in this case we actually, so we took the value of kn is equal to 3. This is the 10 test split, and this is the y test value, and basically this is the r square which you have. This is the MSC you are having 207. So this is the RMSC you are having, that is root mean squared, and this is the MAP you are having, sorry MAE, this is the MAE you are having, and your r square is 41%. These are the actual and the predicted value. So these are some of the metrics like which we normally use to judge the performance of the classification and the regression models. So now today we will just start with our k-means algorithm. Before that, actually I will just give me a second. Before that, I will let you know some of the scaling methods. Normalizing method, like there are a mean max scaling and the standard scaler that we normally use to scale the data down. That is bring the data into a limit altogether. So let me just do my screen sharing and yeah, just give me a second.
Hello? Hello? Gurdeep sir, am I audible?
Yeah, Parul, you're audible.
I have a question. I want to know that in trend test split, why we take the random state 42?
Okay, So if I talk about the random state, yeah, this is a good question. So let me just show you a practical implementation for the same. So the reason for taking random, so you can take any value of random state. First of all, this is the clarification which I want to give. Normally why we take random state is because when the machines start learning or when the algorithm starts, it takes the training and testing data randomly. The sequence of the rows which is taken, it is taken for the training. It follows the sequence, like it will start with the row 4, then 5, then 6 and 7. So if you don't take a random state, every time, I'm actually getting my voice back again. So every time when you will do the training, so if you're not specifying any random state, every time when you will do the training, you will get different accuracy or F1 score. That is the reason we are using this random state variable in this case. And this is the reason I will let you just, yeah, I will show you an example for this one. I think I do have a file for this. So that, and you can take any value of random state. This is another thing which I want to clarify.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Gurdeep?